You are listening to a podcast of the Geek I Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
Hello, gentle listener. While Geek I.O. holds its talent to the highest standards, what follows will likely involve the sort of language usually reserved for sailors on leave. If you're of a delicate disposition, then perhaps you would consider a different podcast.
Let it go, Sal. That one's fine. Why is it still green?
Geeking out across the globe. Hold on to your butts. It's the Geek I.O. Show.
The Geek I.O. Show.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentle spoons. This is the Geek I.O. Show, your podcaster playground, episode number 285. And this is the 7th of March, 2019. I am CJ. I'm not at all bothered by it. Not one bit. Boat.
I'm Carrie. I'm not bothered by it either. I think it's hilarious.
I'm Monica. It alleviates to the B horizon, Littlefield.
And I'm Josh. I don't care about gentle spoons, but fork you guys.
Joining us this week, I want to go on a tangent about Vast, but I'll wait. Patrick from Leader Gay.
Oh boy, tangent.
No, I fucking love Vast. It's one of the favorites.
You didn't co-sign up for this.
It is a fantastic game. Hi, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Not twinging at all. That was working. No, it's not.
Oh, these squares make a circle.
I
These squares
blame
make a circle.
Josh.
Do they yet?
Oh, man. So thank you for coming on. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
When I got the email a while ago and before Carrie took over and got you scheduled and everything like that, I was super excited because I got the chance to play Vast at PAX Unplugged after sitting in on the entrepreneurship panel that Vast was talking about for like 15 minutes on.
Who was hosting that?
I don't remember. I've slept and drank since then, so
Oh yeah, that'll do it. So, all right, good enough.
but I know like it got talked about that you can play the cave, and I'm like, oh, you have my attention.
That's right. That's where I do it. That's how I sell the game. I say, blah 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 blah. You can play the cave, and then people go woo and buy it.
It's because it's unique. It is a fantastically unique thing that doesn't exist anywhere else. Like. You never get to play the environment, and it was super fun to play the environment. Though I had to play it like 3 times before I got into a point where I could play the game the cave because other people wanted to play the cave. I looked at my wife and I'm like, I'm not leaving this damn table until I get to play the cave.
I have to play the goblins a lot, so I feel you.
Oh man, so yeah. I want to get talking more about game design and things like that. And we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. We'll get more talking about you and the company and the games and everything like that in the second half of the show. First part of the show, we enjoy talking about ourselves, though. And this is the part where I play this.
Gadgets, games, and gizmos.
This is Gadgets, Games, and Gizmos, where we talk about the stuff that we've been doing in the last X amount of time in memoriam. So, Patrick of Leadaham, what have you been doing in the last couple of weeks?
My life is really boring in this respect. I've been playing a lot of Root, which is the current game we've been working on, and we're doing a Kickstarter in a week, and so I've just been playtesting that game over and over. I recently picked up Iron Maiden off of Steam, which is a game that uses the build engine that Duke Nukem and Blood and Shadow Warrior built in, so it's kind of a throwback kind of thing. And so I've been playing that at work while I'm stressed, and a lot of Stellaris, which is what I play a lot of. I'm kind of on a kick of old FPSs right now.
Huh. Sorry, I've not heard about this game. That hey, look, good things can come out of the Duke Nukem engine. It's just not Duke Nukem games.
Just not Duke Nukem. I think the people who made it wanted to make another Duke Nukem game, but they there's some rights issues, so they just made a character in the same universe.
I mean, it's fine.
Just do his cousin Earl Nukem. It's fine.
Earl
I feel
nuke
like-
them.
It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, right? Because it's kind of their humor's a little gross. They've cleaned it up a lot since in the last 25 years, but some of it's still there. So
Interesting.
Polish a turd, it's still a turd.
yeah, there's no turds.
I mean, I'm sure if you took all of that out, then there's people that would complain about that too. If
Oh sure, yeah, of course.
Yes,
the fart
especially-
jokes are the core identity of the franchise or something.
Yeah. I've also been playing a game called Dusk, which is some guy built in the Unity engine, and it's like a horror FPS that's like really reminiscent of Quake. So been enjoying that.
I enjoy Dusk a lot. I
Yeah.
bought it on one of the Steam sales one year, and like I play it every so often because I just kind of get the itch to play it, and just every so often I just bounce in there, play it for maybe a couple hours, and then dip out.
Forget it for another 3 months.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then my daughter and I have been playing Minecraft because she's 5 and she's just getting into
Aw.
like no stress gaming. It's kind of like so we playing creative, and
Yep.
the monsters don't attack you, and it's fun. And my time in Portia, or my life in Portia, my time in Portia, I believe is the name of the game. It's kind of a farming game.
We don't talk about that, or else Monica's just going to go on a tangent about playing this game for several thousand hours. She has problems with
Portia?
She has problems with farming games.
Stardew Valley is.
I have put. Let's see how many hours I've put into Stardew Valley now.
Farming games.
Yes.
Oh, farming games. They are.
I'm 700 into Stellaris.
That's a lot of hours.
It is a lot of hours.
Sometimes I keep it open at work, and then I'll play Genocidal Robots for a few minutes, and then go back to whatever I'm doing.
Yay,
It's a good
genocidal
stress
robots.
reliever.
Yeah, exactly.
Genocide, it's the best stress reliever.
Well, I mean, the little things that bother you can't bother you if they're all dead.
Exactly.
If we're turning them into a nice paste.
I played less than 200 hours of Stardew Valley.
Oh, come on.
Scrub.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Exactly.
I'm only just about to hit year 5 in the game. It's fine.
With your pale ale empire.
Yes. This is the only way to play Stardew Valley.
So the game that we play is you get to pick who goes next.
Oh, geez. Let's do Monica then.
All right, cool. Last couple of weeks, so last week I had 3 exams, so I didn't really have very much time for video games, as you might imagine. I got B's in all of my exams, which is great. And let's see, what did I do? I played a little bit of Stardew Valley, as you might imagine. It's a zero stress game. I don't die and get angry and frustrated with it. I did make the mistake of installing it on my laptop that I use for school.
Rip.
So my productivity for school has maybe gone down a little bit as my productivity for selling virtual pints of pale ale has increased.
Like you do.
But-
Living dangerously.
Yeah, I've also been knitting a little bit more than I have since the semester started, so that's pretty good. That's also a major stress reliever for me. I'm currently working on a shawl that I'm kind of just making up as I go along. I'm also about to have some out of country visitor.
The key waifu.
singular the key waifu, um, which he shall forever be named the key waifu from now on.
Excellent.
Which I am sure that we will play some sort of 2-player, 1-player game, in which he controls one half of a controller and I control the other half of a controller, and we try to see who gets frustrated the fastest. Which the answer is always me, because so it's
Because
always me.
Because he's a fucking troll when we play anything together.
Yes. For those that don't know, last time he visited, we played Overcooked, the first one,
Which is amazing.
and it's an amazing game. It is way more fun than it has any right to be, and you can dash, but it like pushes your friends around the screen.
There's a price
And-
for dashing.
Yes, there is such a price for dashing, and most of the time it's falling off of ice blocks and into lava. So,
Like you do.
not at the same time, 2 different levels.
It's overcooked. I wouldn't be surprised. Melting ice blocks that vanish from underneath you.
We made a rule very early on that you were not allowed to dash, and the first thing that Maz did was just dash all over the place and smack into everyone because it was hilarious.
There was a time when all you could hear in our house were shouts of "Maz, stop turbo boosting!"
Huh. Man,
But yeah, so
characters going fast on co-op games, I don't know what that's like at all. Hey, Josh.
No.
Gotta
more
go fast!
assassins.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
God damn you and your ninja assassin, CJ.
I love the Ninja Sash. Ninja Sash is great.
More ninja sashes.
I also
I need to play that again.
I've got 3 weeks with the Key Waifu. So we're probably gonna binge watch Korra and Avatar. And maybe some of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Man, when I see him, he's just gonna be like, "You're the one who started calling me that," and I'm probably gonna get decked by a kiwi.
Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I haven't been able to be as geeky as I'd like to be. I did reread Mouse Guard recently, which is like the most adorable comic book version of what is essentially books that I grew up with that I'm blanking on the name of.
Redwall?
Redwall, there we go. That's and I really love it. And I reread it recently, and I forgot how much I loved it until I reread it. And now I really want to play. There's a role-playing game.
Yes, the Mouse Guard RPG is a lot of fun.
I really want to play it. So, I don't know anybody else who, I mean, in person in the not virtual world, who actually knows what Mouse Guard is. So I doubt I will get any of them to play it. But
I mean,
anyway.
you're gonna be surrounded by a bunch of people here in a couple of weeks that you can run a one shot of.
That is very true. Also, I'm very excited to not be where the snow is for a week. I just,
you say that, and you're gonna come down here. It's gonna fucking snow, and I'm gonna be so pissed at you.
There's no way it's gonna snow in Florida in March.
God,
I would.
What do you think this is, Ohio?
God damn it, Monica! Shut up! Get off my show. Fucking
I
snow.
really would love to see just the insanity that would happen if it snowed in Florida.
It'd
God.
be like Mad Max.
It
I
would
mean,
be.
It was bad enough when it hit Atlanta.
Last time it hit Atlanta, there was pictures of like cars burning on the freeway. I was like, "What did you do?
That's just Atlanta.
How did that happen?"
Atlanta happened.
Whereas my university decided that 4 inches of snow at 8 a.m. was fine. We don't have to close campus. Why do we need to plow? Pfft, what's plowing? So we classes were still in session, even though it was 4 inches of snow, and they didn't end up plowing until like 10 in the morning. None of the walkways were shoveled. So I ended up walking over to our on-campus like rec center that through snow. I'm like, getting there was a workout, so I just swam instead of actually working out. So but yeah, so they don't. Anyway, I'm not gonna rant about that because I've already taken up a lot of time. So anyway, Carrie, what have you been up to?
There's shit on my roof now.
See, it's fucking snowing.
There is a lot of shit on our roof that we have been waiting a very long time to put on our roof. So Robot House finally completed our armor plating. We are officially, we officially have the capability to run with the power of the sun. We are not currently allowed to yet because something utility company.
Yay.
Something utility company has the Florida state government by the balls.
Yeah.
And I do get that, like, they actually need to be aware that we're on solar so they don't, like, because basically the way the electrician described it is if they don't know that we're on solar and configure our meter to understand that we're on solar, they will basically read their energy coming into our house and the solar energy coming into our house and think that we like opened up a meth lab or something because we're using so much power. So I understand that. The problem is our utility company is extremely anti-solar and will sit on an application for 8 to 10 weeks before processing it, because they want to squeeze that many more bills out of us. But the solar panels are up, the power walls are up, they look absolutely beautiful. And the icing on the cake of a very long, very tiring, but very exciting day was the fact that when I went on the Space of Faces to post about it, I got a notification on this day 4 years ago. And it was a picture of me holding the keys to our house right after I left the closing. So by pure happenstance, because we did not choose this date, Tesla called us and said, you can have your solar panels on this date, be there. And it just happened to be the 4-year anniversary of us closing on our house.
That's
really exciting.
So that's super exciting. So now we're waiting for the inspection and then the net metering application so that we can actually power the system on and begin harvesting that sweet, sweet photovoltaic energy. And turns out that we weren't the only ones planning on doing this because today we woke up and the neighbors across the street were having the same damn thing done.
And yesterday, while our installers were here, our neighbor across the street directly decided to make an inquiry about solar panels and got himself some set up.
Nice.
Oh.
Attracting more solar energy to the neighborhood.
Yes, well, and we already, like, there's a decent amount of solar customers in our neighborhood already. Like, not everybody did the huge ass systems like we did and like the people across the street did. Like, there's a couple of houses that just have 1 or 2 panels, I guess just for like the hot water heater or just to shave a little bit off their bill. But yeah, you could tell because you would drive around during Irma and our entire neighborhood was without power for like 2 weeks, except for like the handful of houses scattered throughout that you could see with the lights on. And you're like, they're on solar? They're on solar?
See, that I don't know how well solar would work for Maine specifically. First of all, you'd have to get on your roof all the time and clear them off. But in the winter, we get such indirect sunlight that
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how much you would actually get from that.
Yeah, you'd get a lot during the summer though.
Yeah, that is true.
And the thing is, even on overcast days, it'll still
Yeah.
pull something. It just won't be nearly as much as it can.
Right. Your house can basically photosynthesize.
Yes, it can, and it's also protected because it turns out that these solar panels are nigh indestructible and like it will protect our roof.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah. Also, I'm excited because our installers were done in like 9 hours and the guys across the street ended up leaving and their job is like half done. So it's like, haha,
Thanks.
our installers are better.
Nice.
They were
Very,
really
very
awesome though.
cool.
We got them pizza and it was great. We overheard them joking about how they were going to put us back on the install schedule for today.
Double the panels.
So many games.
Right? I mean, I'd be
Double the pizza.
because there's just our roof is covered in panels except for one spot where the type of roofing that they used and the pitch of the roof did not permit them to put panels up there. But if that had not been the case, our roof would pretty much be covered in solar panels. Like you could not have more solar coverage on this roof unless we did a solar roof, and they're not even installing those in Florida yet.
I didn't realize that was actually a thing.
That is a thing.
It is
Yeah,
a thing.
instead of panels, it's literally a tile roof where every tile is photovoltaic sensitive.
Not everyone. They have dummy tiles that they'll put
Yeah.
in places where they get where like the roof is too shaded all day long, because you know like gables and shit like that.
Every usable tile.
Exactly. So the dummy tiles like make it more cost effective because you're not paying for photovoltaic cells in a spot where you're never going to use them.
Yeah. There's
it's-
I understand why I wouldn't know about this because Maine doesn't have a whole lot of new construction of houses.
Yeah.
Most of the houses that are here were built about 100 years ago. So
Yeah.
my
Also,
house specifically was built 119 years ago. So
and it's very pretty. I'm just a Tesla fangirl, so I follow this shit. And it turns out that we also got a really smart inverter with our system where it'll actually, like, if it's detecting that some panels are getting shaded, rather than just shutting off the whole array and calling it a day, it'll just route its focus to the panels that are still getting sun.
nice.
So our solar system is officially smarter than your average string of Christmas lights.
I mean, that doesn't take much.
Also, the word photovoltaic is just really fun.
It really is.
Sounds like a fun word to say a lot.
So yeah, Josh, since you're talking about the same thing I'm talking about,
Solar.
that's
No,
been
it's it's really rad. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't feeling super great going into the install itself, partly because real world blah and work and whatnot, and partly because oh god, have to be up before 10 o'clock in the morning. The closing shift woes.
No. I miss being able to wake up later than 10 o'clock.
I know. It'll be okay.
Same.
6:30 is too early.
Fucking same.
It sucks, but I shouldn't complain considering company. But yeah,
Have a
needless to
child.
say, yeah, that's a double whammy. Having to just be at the house was a nice excuse to have a day off. It's like, yeah, they kind of have to have decision makers around to actually do the install, so I'm gonna need this day off. And yeah, we sat around, took a bunch of pictures as they unloaded stuff off the car and, well, trucks, cars. Bleh. I can speech. And eventually just wound up breaking out ye old 3DS and loading up Majora's Mask.
There you go.
And I forgot how much I love that game, and also why do people need to fix things that aren't broken?
Oh.
Because I was playing through and it's like, where's the invisible soldier you get the stone mask from? He should be right. No, this is the right spot. I remember this spot. Where's the invisible soldier? I've got the Eye of Truth. Short Google food later by Carrie. He's in the fucking pirate fortress now? That's where you need the stone mask. Why did they change this?
Good question.
It's like there's really no rational reason for this other than making it more convenient, which makes no sense because half the point of Majora's Mask is the fact that it's not convenient. You have to loop the same 3 goddamn days however many times to get everything you need. That's the way it goes. Why would they change Mask? Mask is Mask. But yeah, that's basically been it. Unless I'm mistaken, we're going to see Captain Marvel tomorrow, which is going to be exciting.
Yay.
Because yay, Captain Marvel.
Yes. For
Yay,
no
Captain
other reason than yay, Captain Marvel. None whatsoever.
Even if that were not the case, CJ, we would still be going to.
No, I'm same.
I'm pretty sure if I tried to tell Carrie, no, we're not going to see Captain Marvel, I would find myself strapped to the hood of the car.
No, same. It's yeah, there's no way that I would not see this movie regardless if we're reviewing it or not. Spoiler alert, we're reviewing it next week.
But other than that, I've been watching assorted stuff online. Still more Zelda randomizer stuff. Been watching somebody do a blind playthrough of Ori and the Blind Forest,
Oh.
which has been delightful because watching someone else experience and enthuse about a game I very much enjoyed myself is it's a real comfortable feeling.
Yep. That's how I played Ori and the Blind Forest. I watched Maz play it because first of all, there's a particular scene where it's not really spoiling anything. There's lots of rushing water upward and it is really stressful. For I don't know if I've actually explained it before, but water in video games actually gives me close to a panic attack. So because it is very, very, very stressful for me. I don't
Interesting.
Interesting.
Pretty sure it's because of Tomb Raider games with piranhas in water sources, and also the giant fish in Super Mario 64. Those are the 2 things I'm citing as the reasons for them.
So you don't play Sonic games then, because that's anxiety-riddled madness on its own.
But for some reason, side-scrolling games with water in them don't bother me as much. It's the 3D games that just get me. Unless I've played it a million times and I know that nothing is going to jump out at me in the water. Like in Banjo-Kazooie, there's a lot of water in that game. But I just know where to go to not get things jumping out at me in it.
So you're saying that you need to play Subnautica on stream, right?
Yes.
We have the next Monica Liquid handicap.
Jesus. I'm gonna not say no to it, but there's gonna have to be some convincing.
And a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's fine. Still super excited that game is getting a sequel out of nowhere. Because goddamn is that game just it's real good. But it's also real. real frustrating to watch someone else play that game, having played through it myself, particularly if said person is a speedrunner.
Ooh.
I'm guessing this is just an archetype-wide problem, and I say that with air quotations because there's not clearly anything wrong with it. But this person keeps trying to find ways to sequence break. Which, for those who aren't familiar, sequence breaking is when you do something out of the intended order, either through a glitch in the game or finding just the right way to get around something you're not supposed to be able to get around until later on. Some examples of this might be like in Super Metroid, knowing how to do the wall jump before the game actually teaches you how to do the wall jump, or managing to get the timing of the ball jump with the bombs just right so that you can scale a place you're not supposed to be able to scale. Stuff like that. Ori's not designed for sequence breaking, to the best of my knowledge. It's meant to be experienced, and so watching someone try repeatedly to find a way to go someplace they're not supposed to be able to go, it's like, no, you're doing it wrong. Stop. The game does not want you to go there right now. Quit!
Yeah. Maz tried to do that a couple of times, and I was like, no, you should probably go around, because it's not going to let you do that. And then he continued to try to do it.
But yeah, other than that, it's been delightful. Not much else to report other than that. I've got some stuff that I really need to do, but battery has just been so low lately that I haven't really felt like it. But I should have some time off here coming up shortly. So that'll be fun.
I feel like there's some kind of
sail away.
substance here that we are missing. Or maybe it's just me.
It is just you. Go.
Okay. So I'm going to do this first out of order from I'm going to break my own show notes here because I realized I should do this first. So Nippon Ichi Software America sent me a copy of Caligula Effect Overdose for the Switch. And so full disclosure, it was a review copy. I didn't pay for it. Now, normally I don't like to beat down on review copies because I'm not that kind of game reviewer. But man, this game's bad.
I had to go look up those words to make sure that was what you said.
What, Nippon Ichi Software or Caligula Effect Overdose?
Caligula Effect Overdose. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
I'm covered.
It's a game that it was an older game that got a remake on the Switch and PS4. It is Persona done completely wrong. The pacing is bad, the music is bad, the voice acting is terrible, even in Japanese. It is the characters. So it's supposed to be a character-driven game where your decisions base what characters you can operate with and how they react with you and everything like that. And like different characters to let you into different places and yada, 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 yada. I had been playing this damn game for almost freaking 12 hours now, and I've not gotten to any of that. Like I am still in the hallway, like the linear hallway, just go. And man, that drives me crazy.
What, I thought you were playing Caligula, not Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, basically. But at least Final Fantasy 13 had awesome music in it. It's about the only thing I can give that damn game. But man, the one thing I will give about this game, the battle system is real rad. It is like a strategy-based, turn-based RPG kind of thing. Like, but your positioning matters, your timing matters, your character's order matters on them. So setting up for combos is really damn satisfying. Like, so, but you have to think about the entire 360-degree arena. You have to realize what's going on. You have to pay attention to turn order. You have to take into consideration that enemies have the same kind of abilities you do, so they can just suddenly pop off a super move, and you have to take that into consideration as well. So the combat is really, really good and solid. It's just a shame the rest of the game is so bland. Like, they pop the colors on the protagonists to separate them from the antagonists, but the color scheme of black, white, and brown can only go so far.
Are you gonna buy a white sports coat now for yourself, or
Yes, I'm gonna cosplay them. I'm gonna get like a flowery shirt to wear underneath it because I am part of the Go Home Club.
What's all the spikes coming out of people's chests?
It's superpowers from a pixie waifu.
Also, this one chick cannot keep her bodice on.
Yeah, there's one girl with anime tits, like, so the perfect, like, breasts or shirt revolving around the breasts, and yeah, it's
It's not revolving around them. It's barely hanging on.
yeah, it's not great.
It's not revolving. It's trying to achieve escape velocity.
Yes. And she, of course, is the girl that the game always puts into, shall we say, suggestive places.
Oh, of course.
Oh, what's this bookcase over here? Let me bend over it completely, despite the fact that it's an arm level shelf.
Yeah, it's. I want to like it because, like I said, I want more Persona-like games in my life. But man, this game tries too hard. Using the old Gamer Geeks out of 5, I am struggling to give it a 2.
Whew.
It seems like, based on what you said so far, it's got plenty of number 2 in it.
Yeah. And the mere fact of the really fun combat system is the only reason why it's even getting up to the close to the 2 measure on there. So I got frustrated with that game, and I realized I could review it this week, so thusly I didn't have to keep playing it. And I realized Deltarune launched on the Switch. Deltarune Chapter 1. I don't know if that's the same thing that got put out on the PC or not, but it's free, and I am digging the hell out of it. I haven't gotten too far in it because I haven't really had the opportunity to play anything else but other than Caligula Effect, because I wanted to give it its fair share. But I just got the Prince and learned how to fight. But man, I can listen to that music forever. Like,
Toby Fox is amazing at music.
man, like, I love Undertale's music. The game itself was kind of hit and miss for me, Undertale, because,
Which is funny because Deltarune is an anagram.
yes. The combat feels better. Like, obviously he's had some opportunity to perfect what he wanted to do in combat, and it works better in Deltarune than it did in Undertale, in my opinion. But yeah, it's I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't want to give too much. I don't want to give a score yet because I've really only played about an hour and a half of it at most. Not even that, maybe an hour. Other than that, I have been playing off and on Valkyrie Profile for the iOS. It continues to be a fairly decent port of a really good game. I can honestly say it's one of maybe 3 times that I've bought a mobile port for a game that I did not regret my purchase. So good job, Valkyrie Profile, on being more than adequate. Pathfinder 2 got released, and it's officially coming out August 1st. And I've been doing some stuff with them, playing some online games with some of the devs and things like that to go through the, now that I can actually freaking talk about it.
Yay, NDA's ending.
Yay! I've been playing with a couple of the devs and doing playtesting with them pretty hardcore. And we are currently in discussion to do a big partner with Paizo to do a big reveal at Gen Con with them. So I am super, super, super excited to do that. And Pathfinder 2 feels so nice. Like, it's nowhere near as number crunchy as Pathfinder 1. They also realized that non-normalized dice are dumb, so no more D3s. They realized, and I quote, "We were trying too hard to separate ourselves from Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 with Pathfinder 1. We're now becoming our own entity and making our own way in the gaming community." So the game feels good. I'm excited to see something that they have not done with us is they've said that there is a way to flawlessly convert every single Pathfinder 1 character to Pathfinder 2. They have not told me
So
what...
basically, we know when the home game's changing systems again now.
Yes, when I get my book. And I can show you guys how to do that. Because it feels so much better than Pathfinder 1. Like, the confusion is pretty much removed because as people who play D&D 5th edition, you guys now have more than enough knowledge to convert everything that you're doing in Pathfinder 1 to Pathfinder 2, because it combines all the good things of Pathfinder 1 into the good things of D&D 5th edition.
Excellent.
I am super excited. It's so good. The warrior or the fighter that I've been playing is just so strong. It's ridiculous, and I love it.
You liking them extra crit dice?
Oh man, critting is so satisfying. Like, it feels so good in Pathfinder 2. It's just so nice. So I could talk about this a little bit because we recorded it, but nobody's heard it yet. We got a discussion going on Exploding Dice recordings. If you want to listen to those live, patreon.com/geekio, about the possibility of a gun mage on 5th edition. So I have not at all been playing around with a wizard subclass, creating my first subclass, because I'm not a madman at creating an entire new class with 13 subclasses. But I am, because I was looking around for it, and like it's all based on, like, all the gun mage stuff that's out there is based on the Iron Kingdom's gun mage. I'm like, that, and it's fine. I kind of want to play the Final Fantasy X2.
Iron Kingdom's gun mage.
I kind of want to play the Final Fantasy X2 gun mage. So I've been playing around with creating that as a wizard subclass. I don't know if it's going to work as a wizard subclass. It may need to be a warlock one. But that's something that I'm playing around with as well. So that is something that that is something that I'm actually quite happy with, that I've been dorking around with on the bus on the rides home.
So when are we going to meet the NPC?
I might have it done before March 30th, at least for a playtest of it. geek-io.net/fuckcancer, by the way, for our charity event that we're doing for our good friend and family member JD from How It Stacks and his horrible stuff that's going on with cancer right now. So I'm creating things. I'm also breaking them. My 3D printer is sitting there lifeless, and my replacement is in my kitchen or my dining room because I have not had the time to set it up. So it's been acting weird since day one. It's been functional, but it's been acting weird. Like, the X stop axis where it'll go left and right will suddenly just start freaking out for no good reason. And I have to put my hand on it to stop it. I don't know why. It's so weird. And nobody could give me a reason why on the online thing. So I'm just like, it wouldn't be me without tech support issues. So I am trying to print up Rachel's mini for our home game, and it starts making an even louder noise. What the hell's going on here? So I go to put my hand on it, and one of the fan blades snaps off from it, gives me what can widely be known as a boo-boo on my finger. But I'm just glad my kids weren't there, and because they would have been right at eye level for it.
Oof.
Like Kia would have been pretty much right at face level for that. And so I am glad that I was not at face level for it, even though I have, some protective stuff on. My luck, it would have went in through here and still like into the eye and out the back of the head because that's my luck.
You have polycarbonate lenses. It would take a bullet to do something like that.
Well, more so find its way in, down, and back.
Yeah, the piece would have curved the bullet around your glasses.
Exactly. It would have wanted its way into my glasses, into my eye, because my luck.
It would have wanted.
Yes. But yeah, just kind of it cut me on the finger. It cut me pretty damn good. It's healed since then, but it was bleeding pretty damn gnarly. And so I'm like, man, I'm so glad my kids weren't here for that because that would have hurt like hell. But so I'm like, I can repair this, or it's under warranty from Amazon.
Amazon.
So I can either order a new fan, order the new power supply in it because you have to order both because they don't come together, or I can just go to geek-io.net/Amazon, fucking have them warranty it out for me. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to spend extra money and also still run the risk of fucking it up because I'm not a hardware person. So I'm not going to play that game. I'm just going to get another one, and maybe this one's idiosyncrasies won't exist in the other one. If it does, that means I know I fucked up the build, which is nice that I can at least get that point and know what I did then. Because, yes. Final thing. Hey, Carrie.
Yes.
I'm sad.
Why are you sad?
I finished the Bands of Mourning. Say it. Because, I mean, one, yes. Two, I'm at the end of the Mistborn books.
For now, I think there is another Wax and Wane book coming.
Yeah,
and then
Lost
after
Metal
that-
is the one he is currently working on.
And then after Wax and Wane is done, we get the modern Mistborn trilogy.
Oh, I've been waiting for
Which
that. I'm so
super
excited.
looking forward
I-
to.
Don't know if I was supposed to say that.
Say what?
Exactly. Yes, I finished it, and it makes me like the book is really good. I love Wax and Wane. Like the characters are fantastic.
Also, now you understand the Staircase love.
No, I still don't like her that much.
Aw.
Staircase is still
I
just a
like her
staircase.
I like her a lot more in
In bands.
Yes.
than in any other. Yeah.
Yeah, she becomes likable in bands, but then again, she's given a character in bands. Like she wasn't given a character in freaking Shadows, like or in certainly not in Alloy, because she was basically Princess Peach in Alloy. Had 5 lines, then kidnapped. Sorry, spoiler alert for a 4-year-old book. No, geez, 8-year-old book. But she is more enjoyable now than what she was. She's still just kind of for me. Just very
I personally was very about that. What was supposed to be one book and is now what 4. So
It was supposed to be a short story and is now 4 novels because Brandon.
Yeah. I'm
It
glad
was
that it's
supposed to be just the Alamantic gunfight scene at the wedding, and it turned into an entire book series. I remember following those tweets where he's like, Mistborn's short story is going well. Mistborn's short story is now a novella. You guys, Tor wants the Mistborn novella. It's going to be a full book.
I still like Marcy more though because she's so fun and I enjoy her character.
I find her a little bit annoying, to be honest.
It's fair. That's the fun thing about opinions. We don't have to have the same one.
Indeed. Like, I see why other people like her. I just...
Wax is still my husband. I don't even care. Like, Wax is...
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and other people usually think they stink.
Exactly. Wax is one of my favorite characters ever created. And also, man, Brandon tried real hard to hit every single part of things I enjoy in people, especially in men that I enjoy. And my God, stop making me love Wax, damn it. Which is a very
He's
awkward
pretty
thing to
great.
say out loud now that I said it out loud. Moving on.
He's one of my favorite like character like archetypes. Like just the good, like he's got good intentions and sometimes he goes about things kind of the wrong way.
I mean,
I know somebody like that.
I don't know if he watched a lot of Firefly before making him, but man, he made Mal come to life. Like,
Yeah, basically.
and man, I have the hugest crush on Mal too. So like, but yeah, it is really, 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 really good. And I'm glad, I am glad that I finally sat down and quote unquote read them. I mean, I enjoyed the medium. I don't think I missed anything with not being able to listen to wherever the hell I was at. I really, really enjoyed my time in the Mistborn universe. I still think I like Stormlight's universe better. But then again, I am definitely a more high fantasy kind of person. Like super high fantasy.
I am 100% with you there. I love Stormlight a hell of a lot more than I ever liked Mistborn. But that's because it's 300% more my jam.
Yeah, like the major issue that I have with Mistborn is I didn't really care for literally anybody in the original trilogy. Like, I actively disliked most of the people in that trilogy. It wasn't until this one that I even started liking, we'll just call him Harmony. Because they felt like a dungeon master, and I love how Brandon wrote them.
Oh, damn it. They're going off the rails again.
Yep. Like, oh, Jesus. I literally put a door right in front of you. Why the fuck did you go in that door? What is wrong with you people? I gave you the answer to the puzzle. Take the damn answer to the puzzle.
I'm going to go over here.
And then Wax, because I'm in love with Wax. Fuck you, Stairs. He's mine. So yeah, I'm sad. I might get around to the other Cosmere books, maybe. But I have some other books that I want to use my Audible credits on. So
If you're gonna read more Sanderson, if you have not yet read Warbreaker,
I have not yet.
It is very short, comparative to the other books that he has written, and it is actually one of my favorites.
Okay. I might pick that one up before moving on, but a friend of mine wrote a book. He's like, why haven't you read my book yet? And I'm like, one, you just released the audiobook, and that's how I get my books. And two, man, I can only listen to one book at a time. So I got a couple other books that I'm gonna get, and I'll probably still pick up Warbreaker for the credit, anywho, just because I've heard great things about it on the fan pages.
It was one of the ones that I reread again recently and like rediscovered why I loved it so much, because I always have like, oh, I really love this book, but whenever somebody would ask me why, it was like, oh, because it was the first one I read. Like, no, there are actual reasons. It is a really good book.
I mean, that's the reason why I love Elantris so much, and I know a lot of people give a lot of shit to Elantris.
I like Elantris.
I like the second half of Elantris.
Yeah. But
I like the fourth quarter of Elantris.
jeez. I actively enjoyed over half of that book. But yeah, I like Elantris a lot because it was my first book in that I had gotten his, even, and people throw shade on it, but I'm like, it's fine. my boy my boy World Hops, what's yours do? He dies. That's what he does. He dies. Ha. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and then on the other end, we are going to talk Game Shop with Patrick. During the break, you're going to hear some for our podcast listeners, you're going to hear some ads, and we'll talk more about that after the break. Support our sponsors. We love them. You're also going to hear Caleb Heil's cover of Imagine Dragons Natural, and it's real good. So we will be right back here in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
Will you hold the line when every one of them is giving up or giving in? Tell me, in this house of mine, nothing ever comes without a consequence or cost. Tell me, will the stars align? Will heaven step in? Will it save us from our sin? Will it? 'Cause this house of mine stands strong. That's the price you pay. Leave behind your heart and cast away. Just another product of today. Rather be the hunter than the prey. And you're standing on the earth face up 'cause you're a natural. A beating heart of stone. You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Yeah, you're a natural. Living your life cutthroat. You gotta be so cold. Yeah, you're a natural. Well, somebody, let me see the light within the dark tree shadowing. What's happening? Looking through the glass, find the wrong within the past, knowing, oh, we are the youth. Cut until it bleeds inside a world without the peace. Face it, a bit of the truth. The truth. That's the price you pay. Leave behind your heart and cast away. Just another product of today. Rather be the hunter than the prey. And you're standing on the edge, face up 'cause you're a natural. A beating heart of stone. You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Yeah, you're a natural. Living your life cutthroat. You gotta be so cold. Yeah, you're a natural. Deep inside me, I'm fading to black. I'm fading. Took an oath by the blood of my hand. Won't break it. I can taste it. The end is upon us, I swear. Gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Natural. A beating heart of stone. You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Yeah, you're a natural. Living your life cutthroat. You gotta be so cold. Yeah, you're a natural. Natural. Yeah, you're a natural.
Yes, nope. No autoplay. Bad autoplay.
My hero just wants to have fun too.
Yes. Oh, man. Welcome back, everybody. If you want an ad-free experience, make sure you tune in live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/geekio show. I don't know why my brain just reset there. I'm not entirely sure why my brain just stopped.
Because reasons.
Also, if you want an ad-free experience, go over to patreon.com/geekio, where you can do as low as $1 a month for all of our content on an ad-free master feed. It's good stuff there. So while we are waiting for Patrick to get back, probably screaming at cats because what he said he was gonna do. Carrie called me out on me using lines over and over again in our Zoom chat.
Not necessarily calling you out, just making an entertaining observation because you're reminding me of that super fun NPC in the home game that you're running right now.
I don't know. I've slept, I've drank, and I've fucked since then.
The times Patrick comes back from being again with the D&D games.
Yes. You're muted, Patrick.
You're muted.
You're still muted.
I don't believe it anymore.
There you go.
It's happened too many times that I've come back to something absurd. So,
Do you not play D&D?
I do.
That's our secret, Captain. We're always absurd.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you play D&D. You know all the weird shit that goes on in in those camps.
I mean,
No, we just explore dungeons.
we've got a vampire, a changeling, and a dragon lady who sold her soul to the devil, having adventures in a magical Winnebago.
Yep.
I am not joking.
These are things that are actually happening.
We're starting I'm starting a campaign with some friends that in which I'm playing a cleric that doesn't heal. It's quite fun.
Listen, necromancers are just late clerics.
No, she's preventing everyone from dying. She's just not also healing them. She wants to make sure that they don't die and that they don't become undead, because that's like the worst fate. So
That's bad.
she can do those two things, but she doesn't want to spend the spell slots on healing.
You fell, fuck you, spare the dying.
Basically, yep.
You get nothing but spare the dying. But I'm dead. Spare the dying harder.
Hey, but you can't fail death saves if you don't have to make any death saves. Just saying.
Just throw water on them until they wake up. All right, fight's over. Clark's the only one that's alive. Uh-huh. Or up. Uh-huh. Which point? I go grab the very cold water. They'll either die and not come back as undead or wake up. One of those two things will happen. I like this character. I can dig it.
She's pretty great.
But the one of the new NPCs that I brought out is a mostly dwarf gunslinger, and who's been around the woods for a long time. Like, well, do you remember where it's been? I don't know. I've slept, I've drank, and I've fucked since then. Now, I've slept and I've drank since then is something that I've said for years, but Carrie put the two and two together that I've probably said this over and over again, and now she's had to face me face to face at a table where I put it into a weird accent. That's where it starts attaching itself to other things. That's when the Matrix becomes visible. All right, so we should geek out a little bit. What say thee?
Why not?
People assume the time industry rushes forward, but actually the best there is to what I do, and what I do isn't very nice. Tiny whiny stuff.
Oh, geek out!
So no matter when I have it, no matter what happens, I will always successfully interrupt somebody or everybody with my soundboard.
I was going to say, you're right there, CJ.
Yes, it's just irritating that like I'm silent because I hit the button to play the bumper, and then just as the bumper begins to play, everybody responds to my call to them. Like, God damn it.
Well, we were all like, I was silent waiting for the bumper, and then it didn't come, so I was like, are we not supposed to wait for the bumper?
Oh,
I'm gonna feign it, not knowing.
No, it's just a thing that no matter what happens, if I press a button on the soundboard, it will interrupt somebody. It's the reason why I only use it sparingly, except for the birthday song.
Oh, birthday!
Birthday song lives forever. So this is where we take our topic in choice and beat it into the ground to where then it is no more than a bloody mess. And today that topic is Patrick's games.
I don't know if I want those to be bloody messes, but okay.
So
For the sake of entertainment, let's do it.
fair enough. Take one for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about Leader Games.
Sure. It's a game company that I run in St. Paul, Minnesota, which has been getting an epic amount of snow this year. So much so I don't know if we're going to be able to run a company soon. We'll just be lying under snow for the rest of the year until someone
Jeez.
saves us.
Which
we
is
make
Minnesota.
2 games.
Nobody's coming.
No one's
That,
coming.
that
yeah.
sounds very familiar. Are
Yeah.
you sure you? Are you sure
I mean,
you
I don't know. He said he's got a kid.
Yeah, maybe she'll come and help me. She has snow pants. Yeah, there's like a 6 foot. There's not 6. It's like a 4 foot wall of snow outside my house right now. So, but it's okay. There's paths. I can get out. It's
That is exactly 4 feet too many.
that is
It
exactly.
sounds surprisingly like Maine. So
We're getting 6 to 8 inches this weekend too. So
So it's 58 right now, and it's going to be 83 when I go out to Orlando tomorrow. I'm going to have to wear shorts. It's going to be I'm still going to be uncomfortably warm.
I went to PAX South recently, and even though it was 40 there, I insisted on wearing shorts. The
Strictly
whole
because you
weekend.
could.
yeah,
Like,
because,
I'm gonna do it.
The next 6 months.
because 40 is warm when you've been in like negative
Negative.
weather.
Yeah.
Like right now it's 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, we're
Well,
right there.
That's not even my town. That's the next town over.
Man, it's like 56 degrees less than us. I don't understand what your issue is.
Yeah, Josh is from Ohio. I'm a born and bred Floridian with circulation issues. So when my room upstairs drops down to 60 degrees overnight and I start shivering, Josh laughs at me.
Yeah, our house is 60 right now. So anyway, we make a game called Vast the Crystal Caverns, which has been followed up by Vast the Mysterious Manor. And they are both asymmetric adventure games, in that everybody's playing a different role in the game. Instead of everyone playing kind of like one hero and a dungeon crawler, there's only one player who's playing the hero, and then the other players are playing something that's trying to stop the hero or get out or crush everybody.
Wait,
In
do I
the
get to
case of
play a
the cave.
mansion?
You do get to play dungeon, yeah, in Vast the Crystal Caverns. You get to play as the cave.
No.
And-
I mean, in the manor. Do I get to play as the manor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get to play as the manor. The manor has a wraith who flies around the board, and you're trying to build runes that are on cards to score points. That
Jesus,
seal the
holy
players in.
crap! Congratulations on the Kickstarter on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Sorry,
we're-
it must have flown under my radar at the time, but man, holy shit, $416,000. Jesus.
Nice.
Stop. How can you only get so hard?
That's actually our 3rd best Kickstarter. So
Wow.
we have 2 that did a little bit better than that. Yeah, and you can still pre-order it on BackerKit, I think, if you click the
Yeah,
pre-order button.
I'm
which we
there
tried-
right now.
I'm plugging it. We tried to shut it down, and the BackerKit was like, "No, just keep it open." So it's open. We thought they wanted that, so. But, yeah, and so we work on that, and then Cole Worley joined me 2 summers ago as a designer and a developer, and he worked on a game called Root, which was we took the asymmetric model again, and we made a game like an area control game with that asymmetric model. And we kind of like we learned a lot. We were making Vast, so we took out some of the kind of spikes that we and pits that we had left for ourselves, and focused on making like some of the rules more generic, more universal, so it's a little bit easier to teach. So Root is a war game, and it is about cute fuzzy animals that are allegories for modern political structures fighting each other in the woods. So. So like the cats are, colonialism, and the Woodland Alliance is a counterinsurgency, and so
That's
And
awesome.
adorable. The art is fantastic.
I
Yeah.
love the art so much.
That's all of our staff artist, Kyle Farron. I put a ring on it. Most illustrators are freelance, but we have him on. He's salaried. He's on our staff right now.
You are ours.
Yeah, yeah. He recently did a game for WotC also. Dungeon Mayhem, something like that. It was like a card game. It's kind of a light adventuring card game.
Wait, hold on. I
Yeah.
might have that literally right here. Or did I put it up on my shelf like a decent human being?
Oh,
All right, keep talking. I'll be right back.
all right, no problem. Yeah, so that's what we do. There's 7 of us now, 8 as of last week because we hired an intern who we're paying.
Yay!
I was gonna say hired an intern.
Yeah, no, we are paying her. I don't like asking for free work, and so that's
Oh, so you mean you're not making her do it for the exposure?
no, none of that. So she's on the payroll. So still trying to kind of figure out what to do with her, but it's been a lot of fun. And so then we're gearing up for a Kickstarter next week for the second Root expansion because the first release of Root came with an expansion out of the box. And there you go, Dungeon Mayhem. Look at that, Mr. Kyle Farron.
I am in
And
love with his
so we're getting
mantle.
ready for that second expansion, which will add crows and moles to the game. The crows are kind of like espionage.
The underground.
Yeah, the underground. Yeah. And then the moles are so we use both, uses of underground, like underground as in criminal element and underground as in literally underground for the moles. So
The Corvid Conspiracy. I love that name so much.
Yeah.
I really like the drawings he's done of the Corvids so far because like half the team is like it's like half the Corvids are like, I'm up to something, I'm very sneaky, and then the other half just like stoned off their gourds. Yeah. So
I'm looking at the picture right now, and there's one of each of those, like in the sample art.
it's pretty amazing. I always assume the one that looks stoned is actually the one that's up to something, but
Yeah.
Yes, like the one who looks like he's up to something, like thinks that he's up to something, but that's just a decoy. a red heron, if you will.
So and then we also there's a Root RPG coming up from Magpie Games. I don't know what their schedule is for finishing that. I was supposed to be playing a prototype by now, and I haven't seen one yet. And that's not a knock on them at all. And it's just it's probably pretty busy for them. And then Direwolf Studios signed on to make a adaptation of Root into like a iPad, Switch, Steam sort of thing. I think they're doing Steam first, but they're doing it in Unity, so they'll be able to bring it over to any system they want to bring it over to.
I love me digital conversions because, man, getting like I was just looking at my games cabinet or my game shelf, and some of the levels are bowing, and man.
Like on the shelf.
Yeah, it is. I have so many games that they are weighing it down to a point where I'm not sure if I could put anything else on there without it breaking.
Whoops. And those are some heavy duty shelves too.
Yeah, just take a look at it next time you're over, Carrie. It is definitely looking like just, but then again, that one shelf has like easily 300 pounds worth of stuff on it.
My secret is to get a game studio, and then you can put games shelves and fill them up immediately into the studio.
I mean,
One of these days.
That seems like a practical tip
It's-
for
it's a
everyone.
It's a nice change from what I have to do, which is put my board games in the attic because first of all, I live by myself and not many of my friends want to come over and play board games. But also because if I don't, my dog will destroy them. So
Oh, sure.
Yeah, her dog loves to play board games, just not in the way that she wants to play them.
yeah,
In the toothy way.
Although he really does like playing card games that you can point to one. You can point to one of two cards, and he will touch with his nose one of the two cards, and you can play as long as it doesn't matter which of those two get played.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I taught him how to play Flux. Basically, was the it was great.
There's a great on BGG. There's a great session report. Someone played Flux with their cat, and they would just play whatever card the cat would paw at each turn, or or how many cards they needed to play, and it was fantastic. As in the final paragraph, he's like, and that was the moment when I realized she was just toying with me. And like revealing this keeper first, and then revealing this keeper to win. As if the cat had a master plan.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a cat. It may have had a master plan.
They've had a master plan.
Whereas when I taught my dog how to play, it was more like, oh, my human wants me to wants me to poke my nose on this thing continuously.
We need a stream of that now.
Oh goodness.
So Patrick, I'm working on that, by the way. Making a game company so I can just store all of my things in the office.
Oh yeah.
I'm working on that
at the office. So
I think my wife would be appreciative of it as well.
Yeah. So that's what we do. Yeah, and I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of stress though. I mean, I'll probably be working another 2 hours tonight. So after this.
Oh wow.
Oh gosh.
So I mean, the game business, especially board gaming, in a world after Kickstarter, is so cutthroat, and like sometimes you got to be mean, from what I heard. So what are some of your pieces of advice for a up and coming game developer?
Well, I say a lot of like I'm kind of cruel. I'm cruel about advice in this regard, but it's because I love you and I want you to do well. I really, really, really strongly recommend people just design. Like I'm always fascinated when I meet somebody who says that they want to design, and then they start talking about like the marketing or the business of it, or like product considerations that they don't need to worry about long before they've like finished a game. And then they get really committed to that first design. And I get it. It takes a lot of work to make that first design, and those first 5 designs, or those first 20 designs. But your first game is probably not very good. Is the hard part. And people get really attached to it, and they won't let go of, especially if they're having trouble marketing it or having trouble selling it to a producer. They just won't let go of that first design. And so I'm always like, I don't want to be mean. You could have a great game, but maybe at some point you gotta face facts and let go of that first one. And like the first 5, you just need to get that practice. You need to be, you need to like hone your skills and to get really good at what you're doing. Vast was easily my 15th game that I designed by the time I got to it.
Wow.
And by that time, and Vast isn't even my idea. It was based on a game by David Somerville called Trove. And, like moving from, it was great. It was kind of a cool experience because it was one of his earliest games. And then moving out of that, like what he had designed into like me taking over and kind of turning it into what it became. There was, we both saw, like he saw like, oh, wow, I have a lot of development to do. And I realized how far I'd come along. And it was just a lot. It was good. And there was a lot of like, he had a lot of great ideas and a lot of raw energy, but at the same time, he kind of needed that hand to kind of season the design and get it ready for publication. So that's my advice is be careful about that. As far as the cutthroatness, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people giving away a lot of good advice right now in the game industry. Jamie Stegmaier has a great blog about how to get published, how to publish a game, how to market a game. James Manthe who runs Minion Games, also has his, and he's been in the game business for a long time because he's a retailer, and he used to run like RPG Now and More Game Vault, like all those sites that you can buy PDFs for RPGs. Those are all the same. That's all the same company, and he used to be a partner in that firm. So his advice, it's good. Like there's a lot to digest there. So, yeah. How's that for an answer?
No, it's very good. I greatly appreciate the honesty on that one. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Is just like, because I mean we've had more than our share of game devs on here, and like I enjoy asking everybody kind of the same question to get the different to get the more interesting responses to it. How did you get started in here in the industry?
In the industry, so speaking of James Manthe, I had a design. I started maybe 2006, 2008, and I sold it to him in the summer of 2011, I believe, called Five Fingered Severance. And it was basically Clerks, the board game. Like it was a bunch of people working in a convenience store. It was based on my roommate at the time's like experiences in life because he was a manager at a convenience store or a gas station convenience store kind of thing.
Oof.
And
the things that man has probably seen.
The things, well, yeah. And so the premise is that everyone's about to get fired, and so you get points for stealing and vandalizing as much as you can before you do get fired from the store. Don't look it up. It's commanding a 5.3 on BGG right now, which so it's not the greatest game. Again, like don't get too worried about your first idea. And yeah, the things he's seen. So there's a character in it. There's customers that come in that you can help to reduce your heat, or you can hurt. You can insult them, and then you get points for insulting them. And there's this guy you can't insult called the Drunk Naked Customer, and
I really wish that I could get points for insulting my customers.
well, if it was your last day, right? And the Drunk Naked Customer was based on an experience he had where a guy came in to his store at like 1:30 a.m. and he was bare ass naked, like completely bare ass naked and
Great.
drunk. And he walked around for a bit, and then he walked up to the cash register and asked for some cigarettes. And my friend was like, "Oh, here you go." And then he's like, "How are you going to pay for it?" And the guy literally reached for his wallet, and that was when it dawned on him he wasn't wearing his pants. And and he was just like, "Get the hell out of here." I don't know if that story's true. It was such a good story. He was a little BSy, but I love. So yeah, it was that sort of thing that led to that game. So I made that. James Manthe from Minion Games published it. He's published Manhattan Project, is probably his big game, and he's done a lot of Kickstarter. He's done like 16 Kickstarters and a lot of writing about Kickstarter. And so when he took me to Gen Con for the first year to promote Five Fingered Severance, I paid a lot of attention to the process of producing a game. I worked a lot with the factory. He did a lot of that too, and graphic design has to do a lot of that. And then I actually just really learned how to sell. That's a really important skill for game developers, is to be able to sell their design to somebody, even if it's just actually like selling the design to a publisher. It's a skill that you have to learn how to, like, you can't just come up to somebody and say, "Hey, I want to buy my game," and then mumble your way through an explanation about it. You really got to deliver that pitch quickly and cleanly and make it compelling. And so I watched him selling games, and I learned a lot from him doing that. So that's kind of how I got my start.
Okay.
A couple of years later, I made a game. Kickstarter was picking up steam, and so I made a game called Trick or Treat, which is just a 2-deck card game about trick-or-treating as a kid. One of my favorite things. And naturally, as soon as I started talking, the cats are like, want to go in out of the door a million times. Give me 1 second.
Of course, no worries.
Cats.
Right. So I found the panel that I saw him on, and I want to talk to him when he gets done with this. It has been bothering me that I did not know what panel I had seen him on or heard his voice. I'm like, I know the freaking panel, and it's driving me absolutely insane. Oh, he just came back on, so I should probably say something. And then I says to her, I says that I'm gonna.
Did you watch the panel on Saturday morning with?
Yeah, the CEO panel
Scott
discusses.
Gata and
Yep.
Tim Powers.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yep.
Yeah, that's where
I was on that panel.
Yeah, and that's why it was bothering me. I'm like, I know I've heard you, I've seen you, like, and that's where I learned about Vast. I'm like, it was bothering the hell out of me that I did not remember the name of the damn panel because I'm trying to start a business. So this panel sung to me.
Yeah, what was it like? CEOs in the board game industry or something? Tabletop
CEO
industry or something
panel
like that?
discusses publishing trends and avoiding mistakes.
Ah, there you go. Yep. It was fun because basically it was Scott Gata and Tim Powers. We have very different approaches to publishing, talking to each other for disagreeing for 30 minutes. And I love both of them, so it was fun. But
that's such a great way to get different perspectives for, because somebody's approach might work for some new entrepreneurs, and then somebody else might find the other approach more successful.
Yeah, I think Scott would be hard to emulate because he's basically running a big publishing company now. But Tim is definitely, like he's got the Kickstarter thing done. So I did a game called Trick or Treat a couple years later and did like 3,500 on Kickstarter with it, which was actually kind of cool because if there was a mistake in the print run, I could kind of fix it with money I had instead of like having to lose my house. And so so I learned the process really well then, and then went on to work on Vast.
Gave you the idea, like, other than building on somebody else, what gave you the idea for like the actual emphasis on Vast itself? Like, what pushed you to make that particular game?
So I was working on a tiling dungeon crawler that summer. I think that was summer 2014. And I was arguing with the graphic designer about how the map was going to be designed, which is kind of a funny discussion because as the games designer, I was like, it should be this way because the game will work that way. But we were still having a discussion about it. And so I went looking for other people who naively went looking for other people who'd made dungeon crawlers with tiles to form the map, and somehow tripped into the work in progress thread on BGG, Board Game Geek, that David was making for Trove, and just read it. Like, he is a graphic designer, and so he was kind of taking an approach of designing the product while he was designing the game. So he had this great presence, this great work in progress thread on BGG, and was showing that to people and talking his way through the design and getting advice on designing the game. And I saw his notes for it. He had this beautiful black and white version of the game, which he then turned into a color version with art he got off of DeviantArt. And I like this black and white one in a way better because it was kind of like chess. It was so iconic and so well presented that it was just really cool looking. It was like backgammon meets Dungeons and Dragons. It just had this great curve appeal. And so I read it, I downloaded it, I read it, I kept reading it, I got kind of obsessed about it, and then 2 days later I offered to publish it for him. And then it took 6 months of talking to do it. But yeah, I mean, what appealed to me about it is I've always liked adventure games in board gaming, and I role play a lot, so I obviously like adventure games. And I always feel like that board game adventure games are you're just drawing, you just go somewhere and you draw a card and something happens to you, and it's not really compelling. There isn't a good story there. And that's what I liked about Trove when I first saw it, was that there is, because the goblins are being played by somebody, there's still that combat that happens in a dungeon crawler, but now somebody's controlling it, and they're not the game master. It's not like Descent where they're trying, they're the game master trying to defeat you. They are trying to defeat you, but they're a player, and they have their own limitations, and I really like that. So there's no events in the game except for what the cave plays on the night in a very specific situation. and so on. And so the dragon's trying to escape, and the cave is trying to crush all the players, and so I really like that about it.
Yeah, that's such a fun way of doing it. Like, it's not, super backstabby like some board games can get. Everybody's just trying to meet their own goals. And from the beginning that the cave is out to get you. It's not, because I'm really bad at the games where you have to like betray your friends.
I am
Munchkin.
surprisingly good at those games.
I am not surprised.
There's always one.
I mean, I am a Slytherin, so really.
It should come as nobody's surprised that I adore Munchkin and I play the shit out of it, and I am an evil son of a bitch in that game. It should come as nobody's surprise for that one.
Those games where you have to like lie and convince everyone that you're not the bad guy when you're actually the bad guy. I'm really good at those.
Secret
games.
Hitler.
Yeah, my ex and I played those with our gaming group, and almost every time I convinced everyone else that she was actually the bad guy when it was me. So
Dio.
Whereas
That's just what a villain would say.
Whereas if you give me a game where I can play as the dragon, I'm going to play as the dragon every single time. Our copy of King of Tokyo might as well have my name written on Mecha Dragon's piece.
Yeah, there's that 5% of the audience that's really excited about the dragon. I'm judging you. So, but you'll be able to in TMM you'll be able to be a giant spider. So, a giant
Spider-Man.
spider.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
A little bit more limited palette than that, but yes. So, yeah. And then, I don't know. We also did a lot of work making sure it worked for solo, and there's a lot of 2-player variants for VAS that work. So.
Nice.
Ow. Should probably stop hurting myself.
Yeah, might be a good idea.
Especially when your background is on and it just looks like you're just flailing around and getting attacked by the darkness.
I
can't stop you, so do whatever you need to.
Magic missile at the darkness.
This is why I should write down questions. Because I had one and I lost it.
Should I read them off the show notes for you, or I'm just kidding?
Quick, somebody else ask something so I can remember what the hell I was going to say.
Worst game you've ever heard pitched.
There you go.
Oh no! I mean, someone would be sad if I said that.
Most memorable that did not work out. Let's phrase it that way.
So we don't do a lot of external pitches right now. So I've been really, since we have two talented designers on staff. Now I don't really work with external design right now. So right now we have for Root. So Root's all the animals fighting over the woods, and there's a group in Brooklyn, New York, that's been playing Root, like they call it Brootlyn. They play every Monday night, and they videotaped it one time. Not videotaped, they recorded it one time, and there's like 8 tables going on at the same time in this store in Brooklyn on Monday nights. And so they've designed a few factions themselves, and so they recently pitched a giant snake. It's like a single piece that runs around eating all the other characters. And I think we're probably going to publish it sometime in the future. It works pretty well. It's a little wonky. Like you have to be aware. You have to really know how to play the game well to pose it. So there's, that's like it'll come with a warning. Like this might be a strange game. But I'm pretty excited about that pitch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here's a pitch for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's vast, but it's in a bread basket. Some player plays the bread, some player plays the butter, some player plays the butter knife, the other player plays the person spreading the butter.
Can we call it basket?
Yes.
Yes. My brother-in-law, who was our first graphic designer, actually took the VAS cover and put eye patches on all the characters. Like
so it was
Avast.
And it was Avast. Yeah. All the characters. There's even a crystal in the background with an eye patch on it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That is great. That is definitely
love
our
it.
kind of humor.
Oh yes, that is yes.
So maybe we won't get around to making a vase, but all right. Well, I'll take your bread proposal very, very seriously.
It's
Good,
an
'cause
interesting proof of concept.
Dang it, you beat me to it.
I put a lot of thought into that one.
Like,
You'll keep your eye on it.
this
Ah.
this idea is toast.
At least it wasn't socks.
Oh.
Oh,
Anyway,
I was just getting on a roll.
oh no! This is my D&D group all over again.
Oh, they're a fan of Pun Prinicle too?
Oh, it's terrifying. Yeah, we do about 1 5-minute session every session.
So we pitch our, well, I didn't pitch it. I'm glad it somehow wound up being this way. But now my D&D podcast is pitched to me as mostly puns, but some D&D. So
That was initially how I pitched Coop, actually, on the other Discord server that we met on. It was, hey, here's a pun podcast where we sometimes roleplay.
there we go. I didn't remember the origin story, but I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how I pitch it now. So
The puns become pretty unbearable.
yeah, but you just learn to roll with it.
Oh no.
Fine. It's root, but with actual political constructs. Moving on. Capitalism bot and
What?
I'm trying, damn it. So God damn it. Fuck. Okay, so take it from, instead of a game design standpoint, what would you say to an aspiring CEO? Like, they want to start a game publisher or any kind of publishing business.
Sure. Be able to take home a book and absorb its contents in one night. That's my advice. No. There's just a lot of skills to learn, and you have to do it really quickly sometimes, and guess a lot and make mistakes. I've made some expensive mistakes, but that's okay.
So many mistakes.
But don't worry, I have a little bit of backyard left. Yeah, I think like really focusing. I think a lot of people get hung up on. Now I'm going to go the opposite direction. You have to be really like clever about the marketing, because you don't have a ton of money to spend on marketing, and traditional marketing isn't always successful anyway in this industry. I don't think anyone here is that excited about YouTube ads, for instance, and that's not even that traditional. But so we did a lot of word of mouth for VAST to get VAST to work correctly, and that work in progress thread David was maintaining was instrumental. Like by the end of it, people were like, when are you going to kickstart this? And so like that word of mouth was just, it took a lot of time, and it was free, but free in terms of dollars, but there wasn't, you couldn't fake it. Like you had to spend the time doing it. And I think the game industry is really good at feeling that out, or knowing when something's faked. And it's been interesting watching certain large players that I won't say out loud enter the market recently, and then kind of announce we're gonna change things, and I'm like, well, let's see how that goes for you, because I don't think that's going to be as well received as they had hoped. They'll get it right eventually, but I think the way that they're approaching it's not working.
Is one of those game companies rhymes with Schmiet Schmames?
No, they're a large concern that makes collectible plastic dolls. Collectibles, not dolls. I'm sorry. Don't write me an angry letter.
That's offensive.
So be really good. Like being good at marketing is, I think, really important. You're fighting for a very limited attention span. Board games themselves take hours to play, and so that's further divided. It's not like a movie where you can just go watch it a couple times, once or twice, and get everything out of it. I mean, by selling a copy of Root to somebody, if you play it 10, 20 times, I'm expecting 20, 40 hours out of your time and your friend's time. And that's a lot. That's the big ask.
Yeah.
So we just don't have much time, and there's a ton of games coming out. So you really have to fight for that time in front of people. I think I'm an okay manager, so I think that's an important thing too. And a lot of companies really need to focus on, and my staff says this frequently, that they're really appreciating. I always worry about cash flow. I'm constantly paranoid about it. I'm always watching reports and seeing what our cash flow is, which is boring, and it's a very adult thing to, like, it's like, oh, you work at the candy factory, it must be awesome. Like, no, I just watch reports. But
fun fact, I actually work for a candy store. So.
Oh, nice. And they probably worry about cash flow.
They do. They talk about it all the time.
Yeah, of course. And so I, like, not having a business background, which I assume is what a lot of game designers don't have, that can get lost. That sort of detail can get lost, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I got to pay bills, and I have nothing here to pay it with, even though I have inventory on a boat right now. And that's, it's gotten tight for us a couple of times, and by keeping an eye on it, I know when it's getting tight, and I'm able to manage those situations. So I think that's important. I was a database programmer in a former life, but I learned a lot of business analysis doing it, so what's that?
That's what I do right now.
Yeah. So I learned a lot of accounting from that, and a lot of business acumen from that, and how to do things efficiently. So it's paid off.
Yeah, it's amazing how well you learn how to business forecast when you do it for other companies for so
when you do
long.
it for a living. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's like it's one of those things. Like I'm a database administrator and business analyst for a few companies, and they're like, "Well, how does that translate?" I'm like, "I write reports for everybody out of these databases, and there's literally no difference between the reports I'm writing for you and the reports I'm writing for this, other than the freaking way that they come out." Like,
right, yeah. Or like some business process is different. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I did that. That's what I did. I don't miss it.
Where did the idea for the underground expansion come from?
I had finished up the design of Vast TMM, and I had first laid whoa, what was that noise? Hold on. My computer's telling me something. We're okay. Everything's fine. No one panic.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Yes. I can't not panic. So I had started Vast TMM on a bus ride to work while I was still dividing about half my year consulting as a database analyst and half my year doing board game stuff. And so I started Vast TMM because I needed something to do on the bus and the ride home every day. And so I've been working on it for a long time. By the time we got to the Kickstarter last summer, I think it was last May, we worked on that. And I was just kind of like, hey guys, I'm kind of done with Vast for now. And I stuck around for the play testing, but I turned over Vast TMM for Cole and Nick's our graphic designer, to finish. So they did all the development work on it, and I still did design, but it was a lot more hands off, which was good for it. Frankly, it brought another perspective, and they simplified it a lot. Which I think were two really good things for it. You can't finish your own game, which would be another thing I tell people that want to get into design. Even Vast TCC, I had a developer come and finish up for me, because it was hard for me to kill my darlings in that design. So I addressing the cash flow issue, there was a lot of talking about up to that point, our company had just been root, get root done, go to the factory. Now fast, get fast done, go to the factory. And so as we realized we had enough people on board that we could start working on two projects at once, the sort of pilot for that then was I went off and started working on, not intentionally, I started working on root fan factions, which is how I posted them on BGG. I was like, here's my Crow faction, because I'm a big fan of the game. And I was like, because I own it. And then I started working on the moles as a fan faction. And then we started testing them, and they gained some legs, and we decided to make an expansion out of it. And then literally how I got the ideas for them is in Root, like you look at every faction in the game and it kind of plays with the game mechanically in some way. Like they violate the game's mechanics in some way. And so I looked at like the crows are about altering the other player's hands. And so you mess with the other player's hands during the game. Everybody has a hand of cards. Everybody plays from the same deck. And like the cards are suited based on the clearings on the board. And so that's kind of your currency when you're playing is you're trading influence with the people on the board. And so I just made these black cards that the crows have, and they can put the black cards into your hand then to you know. And so then like you have these black dead cards in your hand, and you can't use them for influence anywhere. And so at some point you have to get rid of them, and when you get rid of them, then the crows score points. And then the moles, I was kind of just searching for. Cole said, under penalty of putting a lit cigarette out of my face, that I needed to make another core faction, which is a faction that has more than 20 or more pieces. And so that was kind of the impetus behind the moles. And so then I started working on some stuff he had done that hit the cutting room floor about like tunnels between clearings, and then that led to me designing moles because moles tunnel, and then kind of took off from there. So if you have played Root, I don't know if anyone here has, they're kind of a hybrid between the birds and the cats right now. So, which is probably where they'll end up at.
Yeah, I have not had the opportunity. As the is probably the biggest like spread the gambit of playing every single board game that I possibly can. I have not had the opportunity to play Root yet.
Yeah,
I want to though.
I'm kind of craving it right now too.
Will we be able to pick up the core game at the same time as the expansion in the Kickstarter?
Yeah, there'll be an all-in pledge. It'll probably be like 140, 150. That'll get you the core game and both expansions.
Nice.
And then if you get the expansion, the second expansion, it comes with a deck called Factions and Partisans, which will replace the deck in the main game with a little bit more powerful effects on the cards, because there's every card, in addition to having a suit, has a thing you can craft on it. And so the crafts in the first game, just to make the game so we could finish testing it and get it shipped, we kind of backed off on some of the weirder effects and kind of went just for a little bit more middle of the road sort of stuff on them. And so now that we have time to test, we're like trying out like Propaganda Bureau, which lets you convert other players' pieces into yours, and the Coffin Makers Guild, who gets points for battles on the board and stuff like that. So we're playing around to that more. So you get that for free. That'll be a retail item later down the road. And then one of the factions in the game is called the Vagabond, who's just a single adventurer. And there's 6 different Vagabond variants that come in the game. So you get to pick, I'm going to be the raccoon this game, or I'm going to be the there's like a tinker or beaver character and a wolf kind of mercenary character. And so it's just a lone adventure. If you've watched Yojimbo, the movie Yojimbo, with the the Kai, the like one hero kind of coming into town and kind of playing the two gangs off of each other, like think about that as kind of the style of adventure. Those cats. And so we'll be making meeples for each of the vagabonds. Is like that'll also be free with it. And awesome. And 2 more maps will come in the expansion. So there's going to be right now the board's double-sided, so you can play in like kind of an autumn setting or winter, and then the new board will be a mountain pass that you can fight your way through, and a lake you can fight around. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. If you can get it now, I'd get it now because it's going to ship like in December.
Very, very cool. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really, really appreciate it. This has been very, very cool. Why don't you let the folks at home know where you can be found at on the internets?
Yeah. I'm very active on Twitter. David Somerville, the guy who designed Vast, it used to work for, he's a big marketing guy, and he was like, you get on Twitter and use Twitter. and then he got me hooked on Twitter, and now I spend my day on Twitter. So I really, if you just want to see like random posting from me, you could call it shit posting if you want to. That's me all day on Twitter, and I talk a lot about design, and I do Q&A like probably about 3 times a week for an hour on Twitter, and I announce everything on Twitter. I'm also Facebook, and our website leadergames.com.
Awesome.
And we'll be starting a Kickstarter next Thursday, so I have 7 days to get ready.
No pressure.
No pressure.
You can listen to us live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Fridays at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time over twitch.tv/geekio show. Put your roots down on that love button and get notified when we go live. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so. Show at geek-io.net, Twitter, Facebook, all of those are /geekio show.
I just push follow.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I don't know why I started calling it a love button. It's something that's said there and it made somebody uncomfortable. And that's the instant cry for me to never not call it that. So I don't remember who was uncomfortable. I think it might've been our guest, but I was just like, nope. Now you've given me now you've given me negative reinforcement and I'm just going to keep doing it. We have a Discord where you can chat with us even when we're not on the air, geek-io.net/Discord. I'm not going to pimp that again because I want to point everybody to geek-io.net/ pick your bet. F cancer, fuck cancer, or fight cancer. All those get you to the GoFundMe that we are currently doing to help raise money for our friend JD and trying to recoup some of the issues. We're trying to recoup some funds for some really horrible stuff that's been going on in his life last little bit. And it really means a lot to me for if you donate to that and help us out with that. On March 30th, we're going to be doing a all-day streamathon, teaming up with the Diamond Team. We're going to get some stuff done, including a live recording of Exploding Dice, where I have a lot of things planned and probably may not hopefully kill somebody. I probably will kill somebody. Who am I joking? It's not a Dothraki wedding unless there are 3 murders. Hey, Carrie!
Hi, CJ.
What are we doing next week?
We are ranting reviewing Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
movie
we are.
that I've only been waiting several years for.
It's the one about that guy, right? Marvel? Nothing else?
No, not at all
Yeah,
about.
the one that just says Shazam and
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all about a badass female pilot.
Nope. It's definitely about Zachary Levi in pajamas.
something about a cat named Goose.
Right?
Top Gun reference, apparently.
I have a 5-year-old, so I don't get to see new movies.
I just bring mine. But then again, mine are 8 and 9. But I've been bringing them to the movies for a while now.
I think at 8, yeah, that sounds good.
It was about 6 and 7, about 5 and 6 when I started, late 5 and 6 when I started bringing my kids to the movies because it was always a pain in the ass to be like, I can't go see that. F it. You're coming with me.
The movie that I and several other people, I'm sure, have been waiting for years, and it comes out just in time for my birthday.
I am super stoked for Captain Marvel. She is and has been one of my favorite heroes for a long time, minus her issues with alcoholism and stuff like that. But when she's a hero, she's a fucking good hero. And
I just remember, I remember wandering through my local comic book store and seeing all of the female superheroes in their TNA poses and spandex that does not behave like spandex should. And
Oh, you mean the vacuum seal?
the vacuum seal, yeah. And then I think it was issue number 6, where it was Carol Danvers in the suit hauling this guy in the stereotypical burglar striped outfit, like hauling him by the back of his shirt collar, jumping over between, skyscrapers, and thinking, man, she looks like a badass.
Yeah.
I want to read about her.
She has been one of the ones that actually did pretty well in the mid 90s way of doing things, because in the early 90s, later 80s, man, she was as bad, if not worse, than even I'd say Power Girl. Like she had the disco bondage outfit for a while. Like it was bad, and thankfully they decided that wasn't a good fit for her anymore, and finally made her a badass. And I'm super happy for that. So now I get to play for the last time this year, because this is pretty much over. It's time that I play this.
Now it's time for the Geek I Winter Movie Smackdown update.
So this is a dumb little game that we play, and I know with Patrick here, and we may have some people listening for the first time. This is a dumb little game that we play. It's kind of like fantasy football, but with movies and weird math. So our final movie is leaving the theaters this week. A Medea family funeral. Sealing Dale in first place with his 4th recorded victory with $53.5 million. I am always the bridesmaid, never the bride at $45 million. Raul is in 3rd place with $30 million. Rachel's in 4th place, fifth with $18 million. Josh is in 5th place with $12.8 million. And of course, the true victor, Carrie, with $8.4 million. See, I'm afraid that if I ever win this, I'm going to end up making like $5 the next time around.
I mean, look at me.
Yeah, that's why I'm so afraid that if I ever win this, which I've never won my own game, that I'm never going to get above 6th place ever again, because that is my luck. Like,
Is that the best proof it's not rigged or the worst proof it's not rigged?
yes.
Are you doing the dash thing where you're just, I'll just come in second, it'll be fine.
And what's my excuse for coming in last so many of these games? I have been the power bottom more times than not. Hey, Josh, speaking of former power bottoms.
Hey, CJ.
What's been going on this week?
So, on Monday, we had the Anime Otaku Show, talking about the twists and turns of the last 2 weeks of anime, including that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Kaguya-sama, Love is War with excessively long titles, and of course, the 7 deadliest of the deadly sins, and a couple of commandments, and Mob Psycho 100. Jesus.
Dear God.
Holy fuck, that episode.
Right? Yes, I've broken my rule and I've watched the latest episode because I couldn't.
had to.
Like I said,
yeah. And then I realized last season was only 12 episodes, and so we're probably only getting 12 episode seasons, so they had to get rid of that real damn quick.
drastic escalation. We had our weekly posting of the exploding dice. At the door to the nightscape, the gang are immediately presented with a very large, very horny problem. To which there is a simple solution. Throw the sex bard at it.
He's not a good sex bard.
He's not a good anything, really.
No, he's really not.
They are surrounded by enemies and lawlessness and so much cocaine.
Yeah.
He's good at playing dead. Sometimes.
Playing?
Will the crew find the information they require, or does this turn into a different kind of party? Like, a rave of horrors.
So who's the bigger asshole at the rave of horrors? Cats or clowns?
Ooh, but what about a tabaxi ractos? A tabaxtos.
Tabactos.
I mean, it's legal, so just got to tax it properly.
It's just that's how you wind up with just nuclear level assholeness. Just tabaxi ractos.
Is that Raktos guy now?
Yes. Well, I don't know. You can figure that out by going. I said I wasn't going to pimp it. Damn it.
Hey, you successfully unpimped it, so we're good.
Yay.
If you know who Raktos guy is, you know where to go.
Yes.
And Liquid Handicap continued to get gear shifty, getting gear, vroom 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 vroom, or something. I don't know. With Mega Man 11.
So on a lighter note, I started replaying Mega Man 11 pretty recently. I'm refusing to use the gear system. The game is weird without the gear system.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Like they obviously put that game. They obviously made that a central part of the game. And hey, finally found a way to make the game hard. Just not use a key central aspect of the game.
Yeah, I can't even imagine doing some of the sections, especially in like Fireman stage.
Yeah,
Or Torchman. It's Fireman.
It's
The, the Fire Robot Master stage without the speed boost
yeah.
would be obscene.
It's I'm on the fucking clown guy's level. And
fuck you, Bounce Man.
Yeah, that guy.
Fuck you.
And man, I got so frustrated that I'm like, this one of the few times I instantly figure, what the hell am I doing with my life and why am I doing this to myself? And I put that down because yeah. So we've had some shows put into our showbots through the episode, and now is the time that Carrie and I put at the same time. Damn it! And why did my enter not go through? Why did it seriously go down a line? Fuck you. And now is the time where she's been quiet. We're gonna make Monica read them.
Oh, all right, cool. I can read them. I'm sure I can read them.
But can you convert them into pounds?
What the hell is copy title?
That comes later.
Oh!
There's a copy button.
That's so cool! Thank you,
all
BioCow.
right, so we've got B Horizon, brimming. Oh no sorting by votes. Brimming with functionality, Play the Cave, Genocidal Robots, Mask is Mask, Wanted, enjoying the fourth quarter, Spare the Dying Harder, Pun Pernicle, and Tabacdos.
So right now we have a two-way tie between Genocidal Robots and Spare the Dying Harder, with Spare the Dying Harder taking the leap forward.
I love that there's a copy button.
Yeah, I
Thank
know.
you, BioCow.
BioCow, yes. Now remove the IP restrictions.
That sounds very exploitable, though.
I know, but remove the IP restrictions for me, just on mine.
Make
Just
it an
on your
option.
account.
Just make it an option.
There you go. All right, guys. Patrick, thank you so much for coming on again. I really, really appreciate you taking time, and I know you're a busy, busy man. So,
Yes. I was up very late last night playtesting, so it's been 2 long days.
oh, jeez.
I'm ready to go to bed now.
All right. Have a good night. We will see you guys next week with Captain Marvel. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. I have to press these things now.
CJ, play the thing!
I am!
You have been listening to a Geek I.O. Media Network LLC production. Would you like to convert that to pounds? Copyright 2019.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That's why I don't play with these things, because I have a soundboard that I can make do weird things.
Like, whoa, did my sound do something weird? Oh, no.